Come on here, welcome back to another one of my tier list. In today's video, it's obviously going to be the same like the Overwatch tiers, but in this one's going to be which lane cores does the For Honor characters go into. So with this one, using the mainline For Honor roster and coming with a case of the characters, and this time this will go more in depthly with their characters and not like power scaling. And I don't know if I would do a tier list like who's better as the most inanimate range of a character, because I don't know if they have a big piece of opinion on that. That's a big subjective thing. I honestly don't care because a lot of their lores interspersed with other characters, and I feel like For Honor having your favorite character or lore is a thing, but I see a part with what I wanted to go and do, and I really don't care for it, like I said before. But we're going to start from the top here, but we're going to go from the right. My boy Shaolin first, and obviously these are all Lantern cores that we discussed in the last video, and so we're going to start with Shaolin first, like I said before. Shaolin has many things that can go for him. He has a lot of will to get past a lot of the disasters and desecration that imparted on him, on the Shaolin Temple, his brothers and sisters, technically. A lot of say a matter for mayhem that comes with him, and will to surpass his technical religious and ideals to push for war and killing and doing whatever the case may be to make better place stand for the point what he wants to do. But I more resonates with hope because he hopes things will go better. He hopes for the best. And he hopes that his blessing and teachings will be guarded by Buddha himself and help from the other members of the Wu Lin, as they are like his brothers and sisters, that things will go better. And that's who White Chain pretty much is all around. He's a very hopeful, caring monk. And even when he has to take out the other characters of the For Honor lore, he always puts compassion and stride to me. He has a great deal of compassion, but hope is what he has the most. Berserker. This is a pretty obvious one. Berserker is a very crazed hooligan that's rageful and pops off on you at any second and is about the desecration. So rage goes with him. Obviously, the Berserker wouldn't survive the rage transaction, but that's the best one for him. A rageful character. Nabushi. There's multiple different accounts and depictions for how her emotions are like. She's lovely but deadly. And a lot of times she does have a loving spirit for the other samurais. She's a cute girl samurai pretty much. And that's pretty much it when it comes down to her emotions. Like, she has different aspects, but that's a lot of what she showcases with herself. She hopes for the best for her samurai people, especially in the case for her position of being the pinnacle of the samurai's main stand for when they are gone, because obviously in the trailer showcase and the point of what the Innumerable Geisha stood for in this time was when the samurais left, there needed to be some people that hold some place in pressing matters where the enemies would come onto the samurai's home front without any say matter for defending force, or in the case of having anybody that could pick up arms. And the women pick up arms, and this place of matter correlates with Nabushi at the same time. So I feel like Nabushi has a love and care for her people and love and care for other people. Highlander. Highlander's very mixed one. Doesn't have a great state amount of emotion, but he's a very prideful, caring, and glorified warrior of the Vikings, and his obligation, what he does for his country, is something that really goes hand in hand with will. Because he fights for his people no matter what, and will always put up arms to fight for them, and will slay and clash no matter what. And he has real love for his people. Jormungandr / Holda. She's confusing to me because her emotions really bend depending on the case for what her religious or more practical belief, depending on the state of matter of the Vikings and what they do. But Holda in general, her emotions stem very highly to a case of death, because she wants death to reinvent something, but obviously she's never died, at least mainline canon-wise, so that wouldn't necessarily work. So if I had to say what correlates with her emotion, because she does not have it, I would put her in compassion, because she has no compassion, because she's relentless on the ideals of Jormungandr. In any cases where she does put a little bit of semblance of compassion, only in the place for her Viking people, because she only has a little rockle of care for them, because obviously she spans from the same lands as them. But if she was in the compassion land, of course, she could be reformed into having compassion. Orochi. Orochi, one of the last ancient samurai, or Ronin. His emotions don't really stand out, if I had to say for how he's liking a lot of scopes and cases for why he fights, there's two reasons why Orochi fights mainlandly. For glory and for the joyousness of money. So there's many ways you could count him as. You can count him as greedy, or you count him as shameful, because his shame was discarded when he was kicked out of samurai because people didn't think that he had it in him no more. A lot of the time, Orochi is about the flair and glare. So taking more into account that he's about the money, you could say greedy. But being about money doesn't make you greedy. So I wouldn't say that. He's a lot of will to fight again. And would match his general green colors. So you can take your thinking about him anywhere. If you're talking about me personally, I'll just put him in willful. That wouldn't make him greedy, but you could take that account. Gladiator. Very interesting. When he doesn't show his emotion, he shows more of a persona. But deeper in his character, the way he acts and why he does, because the arena has been the greatest blossoming joy he's ever had, and he hopes to stay there and recognize the glory of him and recognize that glory to his knight brothers, his Latin brothers, prove himself in the arena and on the battlegrounds, and as a slave to becoming a proud, profound star. He always wants to recognize the greatest means as a gladiator and is willful and hopeful to go on. So I would say as a gladiator, as most gladiators always had some case of beacon of hope because they needed to kind of strive for that to survive. Will goes hand in hand with that, but I would say hope is a better situation for him because he hopes to be the pinnacle of gladiator greatness, pretty much. Next, we have Lawbringer. Lawbringer is set in stone. Well, he's the most willful knight. He's the tank. He's literally the pounder of justice. He's the executioner. He's all about righteous will. He is literally the Kilowog of the knights. He's all about will. Shigoki. Shigoki can go in multiple different ones. Shigoki could work for will. He's very willful for the samurai. Has great care and justice feel as the mainline front pace of a guardian for the samurai, because again, him being the tank of them, he holds a lot of strength and he has a lot of rage, but that Berserker rage is pouring within the samurai for why he fights and his care for his brothers and sisters. He's very willful because again, at a pace of him being the guardian of the samurai and the overruler, say the matter, of the battlefields of the samurai brothers, and for the shogun in case of anybody that he hold allegiance to. They're onis of humanity, and they bring the pain they have to pop off for their people. They pursue anybody who gets in the way. For the shogun and sojun cases of what they do. I don't know if sojun is in this case a word. Not a surgeon like the character from Overwatch, even the wording, but just in a place for the sojun aspects and care for other people and pushing for the samurai at the hardest means. So as tanks, as guardians, they have a lot of powerful case of will. Nuxia is very weird, but a lot of cases of feel for how she does things and how she acts. She has great love, but she has a great deal of compassion, comparison. How she acts to Shaolin, and when they talk, she has great understanding with him, and it seems like she would be a very understanding and pleasantry woman to be around. She's just nice. So I would say she goes in compassion because of that. Warmonger. This is obvious. Fear. She has great will to do what she does and her beliefs, but she wouldn't work in will. She would devour fear. She would love it. Rage is technically on and peaking because of the case that she was very mad and rageful when her mentor, her idol, and her godmother, War Mommy, died. So when that happened, technically, depending on the case for how she used Horikos, maybe she could survive the aspects, but I don't know. Death work, she actually died. If we said Apollyon and say Apollyon came back to life, even though she never has from all accounts, even though there was a small theory at the time, Warmonger is just Apollyon coming back to life for how ruggedy she looked it. I don't think that even comes into play because obviously Warmonger's Astra, there's two different people that has been confirmed, and obviously in Signing Samurai replacement who she is. But picking that into form, then yes, but that's not even the case for how she was looking and looked it. Because that kind of sounded weird. Looked it? Yeah, man, it's not like I can't even talk. I'm going to drink some water real quick. Give me a second. But she goes into fear because she's a wrathful, destructive fearmonger. So that works the best for her for how she does things. Next, we have Zanhu, a.k.a. Sunda. Sunda fights for retribution, her honor, and pushing for the Wu Lin by almost any means necessary. So Will goes into a lot of that because Will goes into place. And he/she's is a very soldiering person. Sunda is a very anti-neutral type of person and kind of corresponds with a lot of different aspects of being in between a place, same matter of being compassionate and willful. Because she doesn't have compassion and she just loves to burn and pursue anybody that gets in the way for the bravado of the Wu Lin. By certainly in placement for this, Will goes for both, but I don't know if Sunda's full evil because a lot of cases accounts that come with the characters. Next, we have Warlord. Warlord is just a mix because, again, like Lawbringer and Shigoki, they're both great beings of guardian feel, and they all do what they do to protect, and the Warlords are the front main peering of the Vikings' glory. They're warriors with sword and shield that push and strive, they drink mead, they eat, have that husky, brawlic feel, and want to rumble no matter the situation. And they fight very proudly for the people. So Will musters a lot of them. And since they all fight for honor, and this game is called For Honor, a warrior in this stand would always appease to the willful Lantern Corps because they are warriors fighting for so many different means. And no matter what they do, all warriors to some certain fight for honor, for the people's honor. And Warlord does that very extremely. Hitokiri. Now, I definitely think I could put her in depth because we're having souls and what she does and how she is as a being. But I feel like Rage works more. And take into account that she has so many souls and she could create a new being for her soul magic, I definitely think that she could be in Rage because of how rageful Sakura and Hitokiri are as beings. And they definitely want to pierce out any sinful fuck. And that executioners and rageful works the best. You could say the same thing for Lawbringer, but Lawbringer is more stoically executioner. He's not rageful with it. It's just his duty. It just comes with the effort, you know, pretty much. Griffin. Griffin is in multiple forms of Lantern Corps. If we're talking holding cross, fear can work because he wants to drive in fear on the people he wants to pursue. He has great will that could work with his just, especially being a Lawbringer at that time and an ex-Lawbringer still. He has will to push back Astria, push on the Horkos, and stop all these different other people and fight for his people in the greatest case of the matter and not fall back on what he believes passionately on the point of being the hero that the people need. And being Griffin, will comes within the beast of Griffin. But I feel like for everything he's done, what he's fighting for, and his deep inside, especially every case that I mentioned about Blackstone Legion, his name comes first because he was second in command to Polyon. And he feels a lot of shame. So shame works more solemnly if we're talking about holding cross. Orochi. Orochi is very weird. Orochi doesn't have motion really truly put out. Because he's just a silent, venomous killer. He just will be with shit. He's just a cobra. He don't really have any big pinnacle case of emotion really imparted with what he does. And there's a semblance of it because he fights for his people like a normal way, right? But nothing else really recons the same matter for what he does. And nothing that comes to mind to me about his character really shows any real point about any of these Lantern Corps. If I had to say one, it would probably just be Will, but it's just because I don't have an answer for him. No, not fear. He'd be fearful, but he doesn't incarnate fear. Kensei. Will. Humble, solemn swordsman. A fighter that is a general. Wants to perfect by all means for the samurai, for the emperor. And is the most passionate out of the samurai. And he takes everything he does seriously. Kensei is all about everything. He's all about everything in every situation. And he does everything in his power that care for the samurai. He's pretty much the Cyclops to the samurai. I'm talking like Marvel Cyclops to the X-Men. Like, he's the heart and bone of the team because he pushes for the people. Because all the samurais, they have their own little antics. You got Cobra Kai over here, Orochi, who's about to kill in efficiency. Shigoki, lovable but beastful, alive tank. Nabushi, Kang, lovable but sufficient. Shinobi, the assassin on the reckoning. Aramusha, about the glory and harvest. Hirokiri, about just killing. And then Kaioshin, counting him, is about the path. But he's all about the honor. The honor to fight for something more than yourself. And Kensei always retributes that. He's just an honorable father figure, I feel like. So that's why I feel like he goes the most in will, you know? Conqueror. There's a lot of things that can be said for Conqueror. But I feel like hope, possibly mixed with will, works. Because he's a rebel / tentacle slave prisoner fighter like Gladiator. He has the Saint Supreme Host, but he has will because he's trying to make something out of himself with the Knights. Gladiator just wants glory. He wants to be incarnate as all the cases of the glory that the Knights could ever see with a slave. Conqueror is a prisoner or a person put down by the Knights because they set him out of his past, and he wants to push and place himself in a higher being. I think that takes a lot of hope, but there's a lot of will to be put into play for why a person like him would do it the way he does it. So I'm going to go and put him over, no, not light. There's no character that could go into light, in my opinion. Next, we have Shinobi. Again, Shinobi, like Orochi, doesn't really come in any big take of emotion. If I had to say which one he would strive off of, would be fear to me. Because Shinobi is very scary. The thought of Shinobis, at least in comparison to actual Japanese history, general precaution, input within the place for how Shinobi is like in this game. He definitely seems to reconcile with fear, but he's very willful to be fighting on the battlegrounds when his calling was not necessarily suited for the battlegrounds. But he don't give a fuck. He'll come in here and he'll kick Lawbringer and somehow do damage. Valkyrie. I think we might have ourselves a winner for light or even just will. Because the thing with Valkyrie is not more on her personality, but what she stands for and what she represents. Reprobates, if that's even a word. What she represents and puts into play for what she really strives for. Because the Valkyries are the appalling guardians, the searcher of the souls, the scowls of the battlegrounds, the people who deliver you to Valhalla of the Norsemen's culture. But Valkyrie has great high means for her people and always is a center point for all their cases of what they stand for, but is the shield maiden that always rectifies her own means in battle. She can be a princess to the others, but she is a punisher when she's pushed. So if I had to say generally, I could say will, but I can definitely see her maybe being light. Maybe. Shaman is a weird one. Shaman, shout out to Winter Time, man, does not have a solid emotion, but more antics of emotion. She's very religious technically, but is very imposing to it by her hunger. Cannibalistic war dog. And a lot, I can see her going to fear because she's a very fearful being and she wants you to be afraid because kind of like Pennywise, you'll be more succulent. But I feel like there's argument to be made she could be in compassion. She doesn't have compassion for nobody, but she has likeness to other people around her. And being rebuilt in the mind can make her be better. Because obviously she's insane. But her anti-insanity are at least stable enough where she could be there. But I'll put her in fear. Tiandi. If we're talking about actual mainline male Tiandi, he would go in shame for what he did to his family and the fact that he literally just wants to rival through death and war to the point where he dies himself. If we're talking about the female Tiandi, it would be Will because she's always pushing to be past what the people of the Empire Dynasty saw her as. But there's still arguable case of shame there, so I'll put them both in shame. Jing Jun. Jing Jun, and counting to Guan Yu, would be Will. It fits his colors the best. He's very willful general. He fights as good as possible, even at his age, looking like he's 70 plus. He's a very profound warrior. He's a general of the Three Kingdoms. So, enough said. Warden, Will. He defines it. A crusader who never gives up, throws himself in every battle, fights for everybody, even enemies of the other side, including Nabushi. I'm gonna stop. But at the same time, he's just a standalone knight who fights. Almost every knight you could think of has that. Well, like he has that Prince Arthur to being King Arthur personality, and he just always strives. Raider. Raider could go on Will. I feel like it's going to be a back-to-back pattern, because obviously we're getting to the end of this tier list. But all the Vanguards can be placed into, obviously, Will, because they're for honor fail. And my peers are good charge and everything. It was time to sister 41. Guess I had time to do some other stuff. That's only a track of time. I got some other things I want to do. But with Raider, his mindset and his antics would go with Will, because he fights and he has a lot of brothel will as a superhuman. But I feel like the true thing that simplifies how he would be like would be his angsty, inanimate rage. I would say he wouldn't be able to survive it, but he can take a lot of blows, but that's the inner core, and his body can take that. The inner point of his body would splice him entirely. So I feel like, to high credibility, it would just be Will. Very willful, strong beast, man. Black Prior. Now, if he was dead, slash a zombie, death would work for him. He literally hails to death and darkness, all this edgy shit, right? He has a lot of rage. If that's the best for him, maybe with his blood magic, he can actually do some soul, period his body with more reception of blood, and so he can control blood magic and dark magic. He could actually harness the full power of the Raged Lantern. Shame is something for helping the Blackstone Legions, but his redemption is more, I know I did wrong, but I can make a call. And Griffin is just fucking depressed. Like, he knows he did shit wrong, and it's hard to do that. He's an old guy trying to do something, while Black Prior is just a youngin', like, I can bring up Scootum and sword, and I can bring this kite shield and bring a calling. But Griffin is like, man, I really helped a woman cause so much destruction, it was full-on genocide. I helped the bitch that said sheep like 5 times a day. Like, I'm stupid. I want to fucking kill myself. While Black Prior is just like, nigga, I want to smoke. Like, he just want it. So, that's how I would see him. Rage. Kyle Shen. He's a very mixed bag, but I would say the precaution for hope, even possibly light, for how very ancestry he is, works. He's all about the path. He's kind of like Ryu. The path lies in the heart of battle. And like a monk, like Shaolin, he would work very similarly with that feel. So, I'll put him there. Centurion. Will. He is the most for honor, glory. He's the Roman mascot of their boxing cards, bro. Like, he's the pinnacle of ragey, gladiatorial centurion. Like, this nigga isn't a normal general. He's the type of general I'd say, come on, you fucking maggots, and just bruise through the entire militia. No Selex! Like how Romans would have them be from their ancestors to spot in the ancient Greece. Nah. I'm talking about, I want to box, nigga. What's up? Doing a peekaboo on peacekeepers and shit. Like, he be pulling the most. He's the most honorable, profound Roman mascot ever. It's poetic how ridiculously inaccurate he is from how actual Roman Centurion would be in some technicality. The prideful part, that's not inaccurate, because Centurions have great favorment and honor bound unity to the case of their country / empire / republic, whatever say the matter. But the pinnacle of place of matter for his unbounded unity is out of place, bro. Like, some of the Romans would be like, who the fuck hired you? How you escorting us? You escorting us to Olympus. Like, the fuck? Like, Mars is in my breast. And he's out here like, Incredibilis! Doing the most. Peacekeeper, I would say Hope, at least by her cause. Peacekeeper by herself. It's the same thing with Orochi. She didn't really have a borderline point, but I would say Hope because she's hoping to rain down peace, and generally Peacekeepers assassinate and push for that in the greatest moments. So I would say that stuff fumigates what they're like. This is the tier list for all the characters. I hope you guys have enjoyed. I love y'all. Dope tier list. I might do more, but there's small ideas I wanted to do in case involving the Lancing Corps and how they're like. Tell me if you guys want more tier lists. You guys are liking them, especially on the rating and view with the other videos. I'm going to do my homework now, as you can see. Peace out, my army. Love y'all.